Brent Sadler is a retired Navy captain, former Pentagon official, and a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation. I want to start out, if we could, yes, Brent, with this new video from CENTCOM of them taking down a control tower. They called it a surveillance tower at the port of Chabahar, which is down toward Pakistan. They had been attacking Chabahar for a few days, maybe a couple of weeks. They'd left that intact, but now they took it down. But how does this change the game?
So Chabahar is perhaps the furthest to the east along the coastline next to the border with Pakistan, and importantly, Gwadar, which is in Pakistan, is a port the Chinese invested heavily in and suspected of being a potential base for the future. So kind of a strategic location. It's really on the approaches to the Strait of Hormuz. Clearly, the Iranians have been using it to monitor. It also has been a safe haven at the early part of this conflict for some of the commercial traffic that was going into Iranian ports to hide out and to kind of wait things out. So it is important. It's not as deeply connected to the energy market, so there's not a lot of trade going in and out of it. It is highly isolated. Only a few roads go in and out of it, and you got mountains to the north and desert everywhere else.
But I guess CENTCOM is looking at this as a command and control facility to attack the Strait of Hormuz. You take it down, you degrade the IRGC's capability, which they're doing across the country.
Yes.
But my question is, to what end? Because how many times has Iran come to the table and not produced?
Well, I think this is key, that the attacks must persist even if the negotiations and the talks start up again. That military pressure and compellence is what's going to keep the Iranians to be true to their word. You take up the pressure on the military side, they go right back, they slip right back into bad behaviors, and we're back into this cycle again of talk, shoot, pause, talk, shoot, pause.
So again, the U.S. is all alone in this. We haven't called on Israel. NATO not stepping up to the plate, though. Yeah. The former ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, was on Fox earlier this morning. Here's what she said about that.
Their feelings are hurt that he didn't tell them that he was going to be doing strikes on Iran. But the reality is they need to understand Iran has hurt them too. It is in their best interest to help in this situation. They can help with demining. Britain and France have been slow to do this. The NATO allies need to step up, right along with the Gulf allies. Iran has been a threat to all of us. Iran has done this for decades. They know that. This is not the time for them to have their feelings hurt.
So we just had the NATO summit in which the countries indicated, or some of them at least, that, yeah, we'll help out, but nothing yet.
Yeah, just to kind of reiterate, there's 3 or 4 missile defense-capable destroyers that are based in Rota, Spain. There are 2 shoreside Aegis Ashore facilities for missile and air defense that were all put in place starting back in the later part of the Bush administration and then through the Obama administration, to defend against this type of threat from Iran. So it is an appreciated threat. The NATO countries know they need to do more. They are starting to, very late to task. But the other side that we should also be talking about is our Asian allies, the South Koreans, the Japanese. They rely on the energy flow coming out of the Persian Gulf even more so than our European partners. Now, there's a lot of overland options that are also making it easier for the Europeans not to be affected both by the Houthis in Yemen now, as well as the Iranians in the Straits of Hormuz.
All right, there's another aspect to all of this, and that is, what about ground forces coming into the fight? The Wall Street Journal with this headline: controlling Hormuz would take more U.S. troops and even more risk. A former head of the Iran division of Israeli Defense Intelligence told the outlet, quote, "The dilemma is quite simple. At the end of the day, if the president wants to take control over the Straits, he will need to take over the Straits. He is not able to reach his military or strategic objectives with the force he has now." The piece also lays out options moving forward, including close escorts of traffic using American warships, a land invasion, or widening the air campaign. That second point, land invasion, something you and I chatted about during a commercial break yesterday, that may be the best thing that the U.S. could do, because we've been talking about Karg Island and whether or not to occupy Karg Island. The suggestion has been made, occupy Bandar Abbas, and that could take care of the whole problem.
So just kind of lay out what the situation is on the ground and in the waterfront. If the Persian Gulf is like a wine bottle, the cork at the bottle is Bandar Abbas. You cork the bottle at Bandar Abbas, you control the entire Persian Gulf. And the Iranians know this, and that's why the focus of the attacks and everything we've been shipping at that closest point. So Karg Island may be 90% of the oil, but that oil out of Iranian out of the Iranian ground's not going to make it to market if they can't get past the Straits of Hormuz. So the Straits of Hormuz are the center of gravity. It's certainly the last bit of leverage. Now, the other bit of fact on this is Bandar Abbas is about a city about 600,000 people. It was also the site of a lot of popular protest against the regime.
Really?
So this is not a place that's really has, widespread support for the folks back in Tehran. That could be important, but again, knowing what's really happening on the ground is a big kind of a opaque kind of picture to kind of see through.
It's also isolated. Would it be easy to take it?
Well, kind of watching what's been happening in the last couple of days, it's notable that the bridge and the overland connectors to Bandar Abbas are being targeted. That could be an effort to keep the IRGC from resupplying troops and weapons and fuel, et cetera, to keep up the fight at this critical point down in Bandar Abbas and the Straits of Hormuz. It could also be the prelude of trying to isolate. I would say isolate, degrade, but then also agitate to try to get that popular movement there. Maybe the professional military forces to break from the regime. Could be the opening that needs a little bit of help and a little bit of support. What it won't be, and I think looking at what the president has as available options, he doesn't have that option for a full-scale invasion, the boots on the ground, the forever war that's not politically palpable, but something less that's been talked about, Karg Island, in that realm. That's an option he may have.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens going forward. Brent Sadler, as always, good to talk to you. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.